Hello YouTube! Today I am going to read my very first press article that came out 10 years ago, and I have not read it in a long time, so we're going to react to that. So the quick story on how this came to be is that I was working in Toronto as a barista and I was drawing people's faces in the foam. I would do it all day. This guy came in and he ordered an Americano Misto, and I was like, uh-oh, an Americano Misto is espresso, hot water, and a little bit of foam. And at the time I thought, like, is it enough foam to make someone's face? Yeah, you know, existential question. And anyway, I just ended up going for it and did his face a little doodle. And he came back a few days later and said that he worked at a magazine and he had shown his coworkers what I had done and that they wanted to write an article about me and name me Toronto's best latte artist. And they did. And this is that article, so let's read it together. I haven't read this in a million years, and I've been doing this for 10 years, so I'm excited to see what it says. I'm a little nervous too, but this is just for fun, and thank you for being here, and let's go. Meet Toronto's best latte artist, hashtag Barista Brian, by Graham Slaughter. This was May 20th, 2015. There's a picture of me wearing a toque even in May. That's a hat for you non-Canadians. As a little boy, Brian Leonard loved to draw unicorns. He looked high and low throughout his childhood home for impromptu canvases, on the wall, behind the TV, at the hinge of a door. So that is true. I think I told him I drew unicorns in random places and thought I was being sneaky, putting it behind a door. Had he been old enough to understand the concept of graffiti, he might have considered it his tag. They were everywhere in my house, recalls Leonard, my poor parents. Now all grown up, almost, the natural artist has moved past vandalizing his home and into frothier territory, latte art. This is hilarious. Natural artist, thank you. As a barista at the coffee bar at Front and Spadina, rest in peace, Brian has shot to local stardom for his creative, detailed, and often whimsical foam designs. He's made coffee for celebrities such as Will Smith and True Blood's Rutina Wesley, capturing their essence in espresso while they're shooting movies in town. His designs, which range from portraits of customers to surrealist paintings to unicorns, of course, have earned him job offers in New York City, latte art requests from as far away as New Zealand and Australia, and even his own Instagram, hashtag Barista Brian. I don't remember the requests from New Zealand and Australia, but that's cool. And this was my first lesson in media and knowing what's true and what's not, and that things in media are not always true. Because I've never met Will Smith. I made a Will Smith latte, trying to entice him to come to the cafe when he was shooting there, but I did not meet him. But Rutina Wesley, I met many times. She was coming in as a regular, so I made her a bunch of things. And she actually, we reconnected 2 or 3 years ago, and it was so funny to reconnect with her, and she was seeing what I was doing at South by Southwest, and so just to see how far I came from working here. All the attention began in early April when Brian recreated the Blue Jays logo in a latte. It caught the attention of the team's social media team, who posted it to the Blue Jays Facebook page. It had 14,000 likes within a day. On Instagram, the post earned 11,000 likes within 12 hours, becoming the most liked post ever on the team's account. It was picked up by MLB.com as their photo of the day. It was very exciting because it was featured everywhere, says Leonard, leaning back into a cozy leather chair in the cafe's top floor. I had so many people coming in requesting latte art. Well, this is true, that I did make the Blue Jays Blue Jays logo, the Toronto Blue Jays. I made their logo in a latte for someone from the social media team, and they posted it, and it was their most liked post ever within 12 hours at the time, which is pretty cool. And it did get picked up by MLB.com, so all that is true. And that was really exciting because that was the first viral moment I had. All the hype is thanks to the fact that Leonard does something that no one else in the city does. Getting a latte with a rosette or a heart is fairly common, but drinking a picture of your own face, that's unique. I love the shock value of latte art because people don't expect their coffee to be looking back at them. He says, usually people are surprised. They don't understand how I do it. Most of the time they think it's a stencil. They're not sure if they can drink it, but that's all true. And there's this picture of a unicorn that's really funny. I didn't fill the cups. I don't know why. There's 1.5 inches of space there. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, so how does he do it? Leonard began honing his techniques 2 years ago as a bartender at Trattoria Mercato. This is true. It was there that he learned that good latte art begins with the foam. Using a technique called microfoam, Leonard lets a minuscule amount of air into the milk. It's millions and millions of tiny bubbles. You don't want them to be visible, but you need the whole milk to be of that consistency, he says. That's true. From there, he pours the milk over top the espresso, focusing on the shape of the face he'll create. This forms the outline. Then, with a pointed tool, a toothpick, or a nearby milk thermometer, he adds flourishes of detail with the crema. The top level of espresso is the crema. For trickier details like eyes and ears, he'll layer milk on milk, capturing a three-dimensional effect. I don't like reading out loud. I love speaking, like public speaking, but reading, I'm better at improv. The challenge isn't accuracy, it's time. The foam is less forgiving after the first 30 seconds, and coffee only stays hot for so long. No one wants a cold latte. Story of my life. It's always like running a race. My heart is always pounding. It's like a creative surge of energy. It has to be really quick, and I know that. Leonard's portfolio, available on his Instagram at Barista Brian, showcases an impressive range of his talents. His favorite pieces include a recreation of Salvador Dali's The Persistence of Memory, in which he poured out the coffee to recreate the famous melting clocks, and a portrait of John Lennon, of whom he's a lifelong fan. The bar music, To All You Need Is Love, is tattooed on his forearm. That is true. It's right there. It's not news that the barista life is tough. So tough. Early hours, modest pay, and oftentimes customers running low on caffeine and patience. That's very true. Why take the time to make art? Leonard says the satisfaction comes when a total stranger chases him down, phone in hand, to show him a picture of their face in coffee. I love that I can make getting coffee so memorable, he says. That's nice. He also has some long-term goals. Ooh, what are the goals? Opening a cafe is high up on his list, or traveling the world to create latte art. Oh, sounds a little aspirational? It's not. Brooklyn-based latte artist Michael Breach has made a living creating foam art. I was such a fan of Michael Breach. That's for another video. How we went from friends to foes is a long story. I see people doing this at an even higher level than I could imagine. To see people do this and travel, make a living off of that is amazing, he says. That said, he's still learning, and there's one pesky piece he's still trying to get right: Taylor Swift. He's drawn her at least 10 times to no avail. She has very tiny features, and I guess it's the tools I'm using, but maybe I'll get her someday, and then I'll send it to her. That's funny. That's it. Hashtag Barista Brian made your face in foam. Share your photos with us on Twitter at ViewTheVibe. That's amazing. That changed my life. Like, this changed my life. Nothing was the same after this came out, because it was like the beginning of a race, and it's like, or getting on a roller coaster that I'm still on to this day. That's amazing. I'd love to open a cafe still. Maybe it's time. It's been 10 years. That's funny about Taylor Swift, because I did not make her a latte, but I made Joe Alwyn a latte while they were dating. Joe was one of her ex-partners, and he posted the latte in his story that day and a picture of us. So I feel like Taylor Swift must know who I am, even if I haven't made her a latte. Well, that's very sweet. Well, that was really fun to read. That's amazing. That's so great. That truly did. I can't emphasize enough how that article changed my life. Because after that article came out, that's when TV shows started calling and more media started happening, and very soon it just all started to happen, and that's really amazing. So thank you for reading that with me. That was so much fun. Thank you, Graham Slaughter, and thank you, View the Vibe, for totally changing my life forever. And yeah, thanks a latte.